Hey guys, welcome to the Challenge Podcast. I'm Coach Steve.
And I'm Coach Nick, and we're going to be talking about everything fitness, health, and the challenge.
Let's get on with the show.
What's up guys, Coach Steve here, and welcome back to another episode of the Coach's Corner, where we offer our tip for the week. Joined with our co-host, Coach Nick. Nick, how are we doing today?
I'm really well, thanks, Coach Steve. I can't wait to give my advices to everyone because everyone's loving Coach's Corner. I'm getting we're getting great feedback on Facebook. People are loving these little snack size bits of information.
Snack size bits, yes. We're on episode number 10. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you go check out the 9 other episodes. And Nick, like always, exciting episode number 10, double digits. Whew, how good. But Nick, tell me, how is your training going this week?
My training's awesome. It's fantastic. I'm living my best life. I'm finally at this awesome point where I can just lift and eat and still stay lean and round. Just all the good things, you know.
Love it.
It's taken a long time, but I'm feeling very, very good. I'm feeling very positive. My training's kicking ass. How about you?
It's good. It's going well. I've made some minor shifts to my training program as I move into my next meso, changing it a bit from daily undulating periodization, DUP, to a bit more of a block setting. So any of my programming nerds out there, kind of going from, maybe training my bench like 3 times a week in different rep ranges to just once and setting it as a block. So I'm starting off with blocks of 6s. So I haven't really done things like squats at like 6 repetitions and deadlifts at 6 repetitions for a while. It's been different. Not as exciting as doing singles and triples, but it's probably what you need. It's what you need to work on. So it's just different.
Isn't it funny how we just have preferences for what we find exciting or not? But then I reckon what happens is after a few weeks, you actually get attached to your new program and then you go, I don't want to do a different one.
Yeah.
You start to love it. And
You do.
then, when you stop loving it, that's when you know it's almost time to change it again.
That's right. So I think that little bit of variation is always good, and it's always in my case, I always like testing and trialing, kind of new things, and I always have little weird and wacky ideas about programming and frameworks around training. So I always like trying out slightly different things, testing if it's effective or not, and then recording that data, of course. Nick, let's go into the ring. Step into the ring. Let's go into the Coach's Corner. Nick, start us off. What advice do you have for us today?
Well, hello, everybody. So if we're at episode 10 of Coach's Corner, we're also around about 50% of the way through the challenge. Now, this is where people are going to start throwing around words such as failure. I've failed to do this. They will talk themselves out of actually completing the challenge. Now, it'll be for a myriad of reasons. That's the thing. It won't just be because you can't be bothered. That'll be one reason, but there'll be also other things where you've in life maybe reached a certain point only ever, and it's really uncomfortable to go beyond that point. I can relate at the moment because I'm at the point now where I've got the most muscle mass, lean body mass that I've ever had in my life. And it's really easy for me to go, oh, I can't be bothered going beyond this point. I'm doing quite well. But I actually have to really work hard to maintain that and sit with it for a while. So I could say, oh, no, I'm fine as I am, or I could move past this. So I'm going through a big period of going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So I could easily say, I've failed, I'm fine, or maybe not failed, but just say it didn't work out for me. So I've said this before, but I'll say it again for our new listeners or for anyone who needs a refresher. Somebody, and I should have probably looked up who said it, but said failure stands for, fail is first attempt in learning. So if you ever want to be good at anything, you actually have to accept that you might not get it the first time, the second time, the third time. In body transformation contests or even competing on stage, it is very likely you're not going to be the person who wins for the first time or turns pro the first time you head up there. You really have to think about it as a bigger picture, and you have to have a reason as to why you're doing it beyond the idea of being on a stage, okay? Because I see people do that, and I've been around enough to see people come and go, good people that just didn't quite get there because they're discouraged because they perhaps don't get what they want straight away. So experiencing failure in fitness can be discouraging, but it's important to remember that, you know, setbacks, they're a natural part of any fitness journey. It's sometimes you do take 2 steps forward and then you take a step back. It can be to do with injury, it can be to do with lifestyle, it can be to do with what your kids are doing. I know that my girls now becoming teenagers, they require a lot more than when they were little. I don't want to tell you that yet, Coach Steve, but it's all about now being driven from A to B. And if I don't get my training done, if I don't get my training done in time in the morning, basically, there could be anything going on where they need to be picked up, and you can't leave them somewhere. They need to go from here to here and then back, and that can eat into a lot of your day. So I completely understand. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's what happens in a normal person's fitness journey or fitness lifestyle change. So here's some tips. I'll give you 10, but I won't carry on for too long. So first one is to set realistic goals. So if you're talking about you want to, you know, lose a particular amount of weight, but you're not doing that, it doesn't mean that you'll never get it, but it might have been unrealistic. You might have gone, I want to lose 24 kilos in 12 weeks. And it depends obviously on what your current sizes and things, but just say you're 50 kilos, you wouldn't even exist after it. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I'm just saying, just check your goals, make sure that they're realistic. Say for me, my first goal, when I first decided I was going to step up on stage and I did the Queen of Hearts costume, my goal was to actually get up on stage and like represent my creativity. And then I won that one. And then the second after that, I'm like, well, I'm going to turn pro in my first show. And then I was handed my butt back. So it's sort of like you can't really get ahead of yourself. I promise you, if you set just little goals, you will actually build your confidence and your momentum because you can tick them off as you go. And it's just a really good strategy. So I think, little goals. So just reassess your goals. Make sure that you've got somebody that you can be accountable to. So if you've got a partner that you like to walk with, or if you've got a workout buddy, or if you've got a group such as our Facebook group that you can announce that you're going to do something to, it just makes you more likely to stick with it and less likely to give up. Because also, if you feel like failing, put it out there, say, I'm out. And about 25 people will jump on there, even if they're meant to be at work, I swear, and they will help you. And they'll say, don't do it, because people like helping other people. Change up your routine a bit if you're stuck like in a bit of a rut. You know, if you're bored, and I'm not talking about stop doing it or change all your exercises. I'm just saying, if you're walking the same way, walk a different way. Maybe go, it sounds weird, but go to a shopping center to get your steps instead, and say, I'm going to have like a nice coffee in between my steps, things like that. Just change it up a little bit just to keep you motivated. Even, you know, I love going to the botanical gardens in the city. Now, that is not really feasible for me to do every day, but if I feel like not walking, it might be something that I'll drive and do just because I love that atmosphere. So something like that helps you to get away from the idea that you need to just give up. Focus on progress, not perfection. I don't really love that quote because I find it hard. I get all bogged down in what is perfection anyway, but just remember, it'll resonate with some people. So it's a journey, not a destination, fitness. And that's what I also want people to understand within the challenge, because you see these things of don't cheat on you wouldn't cheat on your marriage, so don't cheat on your diet. And it's like, don't forget that a marriage is supposed to be for life. So how would you find ways, I'm not saying find ways to cheat, but I'm saying how would you find ways to not be so extreme? You know, so what it is, say with a marriage, is you have committed for life to that. So how, for better or for worse. So how do you do that within your fitness journey as well? How do you commit for better or for worse when fitness is giving you the shits, when it's snoring, when you want to just say, you know, you want to get some noise cancelling headphones? And how do you still love fitness? What do you do? This is not a marriage counselling service, by the way. We love Shane. # be like Shane. Get enough rest and recovery. That's the other thing. So if you're thinking of giving up, or if you haven't achieved something the week that you want to, if you haven't done your front squats the way that you'd like to, if you've missed a deadlift and you've got to wait till next time, that's the worst. Rest and recovery. You might have to actually rest an extra day if you're going to be doing something massive. You don't want to kind of get to that burnt out stage where you're resenting going. You should actually be enjoying going. You're not going to enjoy the exercise, but the idea of being able to go get to go is something that you really want to keep up. You want to go, I get to do this. This is great. This is amazing. I'm already in the top, good. I don't know exactly what percent, but I'm sure it's like top 4 or 5% of the world's population. You actually attend the gym, and you're lucky enough to do that. I just made that statistic up, so you'll school me on that one. So we want to do that. We want to keep a journal, or you don't have to have a diary, just somewhere where you've written down what you're doing, keeping track of your progress, because you can be hard on yourself. You can think, I'm not progressing. Then you look and you've actually maybe even added 2.5 kilos to each side of the barbell, or you've progressed, you've gone 10,000 steps instead of 8,000 steps, and you've done it consistently. Maybe you've had more water, maybe you've improved your sleep. There's always going to be something that you have been working on that is actually looking better than what it was before. And you don't want to get bogged down in other people's metrics where you sort of think, oh, hang on a minute, they've lost weight and I haven't, and I've failed. Because what are you doing? You're basically threatening. We'll get questions on the forum and that where it's like, oh, I'm about to give up. So you're threatening to give up. It's like saying, I'm going to take all my money out of my bank account, Bank of Melbourne. So it's like the Bank of Melbourne will say, well, maybe don't do that. And we're saying, don't give up. It's only going to be annoying to you. Find a way to make it work. So that is where you might want to consider hiring a personal trainer or a coach just for a couple of sessions, just to make sure your technique's okay. Because if you're not progressing, sometimes it could be that you are not making the most of what you should be doing for each lift. You might not be setting up correctly. Who knows? So just take advantage of someone with a trained eye, even a friend that's good. If they're allowed to look over you at the gym, obviously you want to have qualified people, but just something that's going to show you that you're actually doing the right thing. If you've not had that before, a little assessment can actually really help you and make you feel good. And it can also be different ways for each person. It might be that you don't have great ankle mobility, and they might suggest to just elevate your heels a bit. It might make all the difference for a squat. Instead of just never ever being able to reach all the things that you see people reaching. Stay positive if you can. It doesn't mean all the time, because positivity isn't always the way, but try to come back to why you're doing what you're doing. And instead of focusing on what went wrong, try and focus on what you can do to improve moving forward, because you've only got each moment. And the other one is reward yourself. So it doesn't mean it's a food reward, because let's just take food out of the equation. It could be a nice cheeky new workout outfit. You can get great ones on eBay or anything like that now, Facebook Marketplace, because people give up. So they've got their exercise gear there. You don't always have to just buy brand new stuff, or you could swap. I mean, this sounds like a funny thing to do, but you could get all your friends together and swap all your leggings if you're sick of them. That's kind of fun. Someone like me every now and then has a bit of a clean out, so watch out for that. A massage is a nice reward, things that might help you towards your goals. Anything that just makes you feel good that isn't going to be detrimental. So perhaps not alcohol or food, because that's generally something that we see ourselves rewarding ourselves with, but they're probably a little bit of a rabbit hole of you want to steer away from that for fitness goals at the moment. You want to just think of reward system where it'll help you progress. And keep moving forward, because remember, first attempt in learning. So use it as a learning experience and keep moving forward toward your fitness goals. The only way 100% that you can genuinely fail, there's only one way, and that is to stop completely. Never do it again.
Nick, first attempt in learning. I love that. Fail. And thank you for your impromptu marriage advice. Oof.
Oh my God, no worries.
I think that's a really good analogy, right? To the whole fitness journey, where it is kind of like a marriage, and at times, you just dislike the other person, but you still love them, and it's kind of like fitness, right? You sometimes you dislike it, sometimes you need a break, sometimes you need just a way to manage it, but at the end of the day, you still love it, and it is for life. So I think it's an interesting way to approach dieting and training, where sometimes it's going to get tough. What are you going to do? You can't just call it quits. You can't just remove this person out of your life. It's all about how you're going to just make it work for that short period of time, because you're going to love it later. So thanks for that analogy. It's really good.
No worries.
Nick, I would like to talk about a concept very closely linked to what you've been discussing about failure, and it's
Wow.
talking about habits, Nick. More specifically, talking about creating and removing friction. Okay. Now, friction is something like a barrier. It's going to be something that's going to either facilitate or make it more challenging to do an activity. Now, I want to use an example, a real life example, story time with Steve. So take a seat, children, story time with Steve. So for the longest time, I've been taking a multivitamin. Okay, I often buy the cheapest one that I find at Coles, and I often put it in this Captain America like bowl thing that I acquired in my travels, and that sits on the microwave. Okay, so in my kitchen on the microwave, I've got my little tub of like smaller supplements, and the bigger supplements like protein powders go up in the cupboard. Okay, so my smaller supplements kind of sit in this little Captain America bowl on my microwave. Okay, and this makes it really easy for me to take my multivitamins because, you know, in the morning it's right next to my coffee machine. Go in, have my coffee while my coffee's brewing. I just pop my multivitamin like a Tic Tac. Great, happy days, and really easy for me to take my multivitamin. Now, my dearest wife has decided to remove my Captain America bowl from the microwave and has replaced it with this nice, beautiful yellow bowl, right, which matches the decor, and has replaced it with a bowl of burn bars of all things. Okay.
Oh.
So I've gone from my Captain America multivitamin supplements little container to a bowl of burn bars. Okay, so a nice little swap. But now my multivitamins have been moved up into the cupboard with my protein powders. Okay, now I've been taking this multivitamin for months, if not years now, and I forget about it all the time, right? So it's a habit that I had because it was easy, and now because I've changed my environment, I don't have my multivitamin because it's in the cupboard. It's out of sight, out of mind. It's away. It's difficult. It's got friction for me to complete that behavior. But what do I do instead, Nick? Here I am munching away at burn bars all day because it's right in front of my face. And sure, burn bars aren't the worst thing in the world, but, you know, they're maybe 124 calories or so. And when you're munching away on them, you're like, oh, okay, I've eaten a few burn bars today while waiting for my coffee to brew or waiting for my meal to warm up in the microwave. Because, you know, do you have snacks while you're preparing your food? I have snacks while I'm preparing my food.
Yeah, you can have snacks. You can have snacks while you're waiting for your snack too.
Yeah. So here I am, right, in this environment where I've changed my kitchen setup from my multivitamin experience, where my habit was to have my multivitamin Tic Tac every morning, to now munching away at burn bars. And this is an interesting example of friction and changing habits, and how powerful the environment can be when we're trying to make changes in our lives. And often we join something like the challenge or start a fitness journey, and we have so much motivation, and we try to have the willpower and try to muscle through these changes and just, true grit to make a change, when it can be easier just to modify our environment for the better, rather than try to use any external factors to try to get the job done. So let's say that multivitamin is currently sitting in the cupboard. I could set up notifications on my phone. I could maybe put up a big sign on my fridge saying eat your multivitamin or swallow your multivitamin, but it's still like an effort to go to the cupboard. And sure, it's only 2 steps: go to the cupboard, open the door, eat the multivitamin, but it's still friction that I've created. Okay, that poor Captain America bowl has now been moved. And now this burn bar jar, it's just so easy to eat this burn bar. Okay, now I just want to take a moment to reflect on how those two ideas of multivitamins moving away, burn bars entering the environment, could be replaced with almost any other thing. So, that burn bar bowl could be a bowl of sweets, a bowl of candy, right? Something that is your kryptonite, maybe a tub of hummus that just lives on a kitchen counter, because that's just a thing people do. That could be your, a fail point, right? And not fail as in the first, what was it, at learning? First
attempt
at learning, F.A.I.L. I spelt fail wrong, Nick. I went F.I.A.L. Yeah, you go. First attempt in learning. That's not what the hummus is representing. The hummus is representing a change in the environment, or the bowl of candy, the bowl of burn bars is representing a change in the environment that is facilitating a behavior that we don't want. Okay, so think about your environment at home, starting at home, what could you do to facilitate a behavior that you do want? And what we want to do is remove friction, make it as easy as possible. And that could be, let's say, you might want to eat more fruit. So when you're peckish, when you're a little bit snacky, you might want to eat an apple instead of eating, a bar of chocolate or, a lolly or something like that. And maybe in your house, because maybe you live with someone else or with a family, you have a bowl of sweets living on a buffet or something at home. Could you make that swap to move that bowl of sweets into the cupboard, out of sight, out of mind, create friction for that, and replace it with a bowl of apples? And you may find that when you are peckage, hey, those apples are right there, and munching away at the apples. Or if you want to start maybe a supplement process, like you may want to start taking a multivitamin, or maybe you want to start taking another supplement, or heck, you might even need to take some medications for your own health. And you want to start putting effort to actually take those medications because you need to for X, Y, and Z reasons, you might want to put that in a really accessible, easy position. So, maybe I'll sell my Captain America bowl and you put it on your fridge, on your microwave. But we want to be making those processes easier. The same thing can happen with training and exercise. Maybe you're exercising at home. Maybe you have a set of dumbbells, but they live in the spare room in the cupboard. And you're finding it really hard to actually go and get those dumbbells or whatever they are and bring them out into the living room where there's space and doing that exercise. Okay, what if you made a space in that living room? So every time you go to the living room, there's the dumbbells, there's the workout mat, and there's everything there for you. You've made it easier. You've removed any friction, and now you can complete that task. Or on the flip side, if you find that every time you go into the living room, without thinking too much, you've grabbed the remote, you turn on the TV, you're kicking it on the couch, scrolling through TikTok, what could you do to make it more challenging to do that behavior? Maybe you physically unplug the TV, right? So if you want to go watch TV, you have to go around and plug the thing in and then find the remote and turn it on. And then the next thing you know, you're on the couch and flicking through TikTok. But if you created some friction at the start where you go, it's just too much effort to turn on the TV. I won't sit on the couch. I won't go through TikTok. I'm going to go for a walk instead. So you've added friction, made it harder to do this task, and then now it's easier to do the things that you want to do to move towards your goal. Okay, so Nick, in summary, think about friction and how powerful it is to change your environment. We can't rely on, grit for that long. We can't rely on motivation and hard work and grinding it for that long. Maybe at the start, sure, but we want to find ways that we can make it easy. Okay, we want to find ways that we can make this thing easy, because remember, like you said, Nick, fitness is for life, marriage is for life. We want to find ways that we can compromise, make it easy, make it work, rather than putting barriers in place to make it more difficult to achieve the things that we want to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And my household has sour worms on top of the fridge.
Yep.
Everyone likes sour worms. So there's no friction with the sour worms. They're
it's
available.
A free-for-all. Yeah.
24/7, the sour worms.
So I think that's a great example, and I think we all have something like that in our household. Maybe it is a long-standing thing. I'm sure that bowl of sour worms on your fridge or microwave or wherever it is probably something that's been there for a long time, and it's just the norm now. And I know in my household growing up, there was just a bowl of sweets and candies, often little fun sized things, just on the dining table in the middle. And that made it easy for dinner time, after dinner, just grab a few sweets, and that's something sweet once dinner is done. And that's just something that was very normal in my family. And it's just an interesting coincidence that many members in my family, struggle a bit with their body weight. So, these small things might be the reason why. And it might be worth just reflecting, going, hey, do I need that bowl of candy? Do I need to put all the healthy food in the cupboard, out of sight, out of mind, hidden away? Do I need to hide all my, workout gear or my workout clothes to the back of the wardrobe, or making it difficult to find my runners to go for a walk or something like that? Does it need to be like that? Or are there steps you can make to make it easy? And that's the ultimate goal.
Definitely.
Nick, we've covered a lot today, lots of marriage advice, what to do if you fail, and how we can modify friction to make it easier to do the things we want to do and harder to do the things that we don't want to do. Such a good episode of the Coach's Corner.
Very good. Failure and friction.
FF. Woo!
FF. And snakes.
And snakes. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know. I'll catch you next week for episode number 11.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like the show, share it with a friend.
Or leave us a review on iTunes to spread the good word. See you next time.